Believe this. So this black man with a 400-person army went toe-to-toe with the KKK, then built an entire government for black people in the South. And the U.S. government was so scared of him, they threw him in jail. So this brother name is Tunis, and he's born 1812 in New Jersey. His parents are free black people at the time, contrary to what history want us to believe about all blacks being slaves around this time. His dad was a preacher. His mom, an educator. And at 18, he was already a Methodist preacher. But here's the thing. Campbell isn't the sit down and shut up kind of preacher. He's the you try me and I'll dismantle your whole system type. Think Nat Turner 2.0. Instead of blending in, he start preaching about abolishing slavery and colonialism. Basically anything that pissed white folks off. Then he lands a job as a fancy hotel waiter in New York. And while he's there, he writes this book. Hotel Keepers, Head Waiters, and Housekeepers Guide. Basically the first ever guidebook on how to run a high-end hotel. But here's where it gets crazy. He used the money from that book to fund black schools. And not just any schools. These schools was filled with fugitives he helped escape from the South. This man was Harriet Tubman's plug in a three-piece suit. Then the Civil War hits. The Union looking around like, yo, who can help us get some black troops together? And they like, Tunis got a crew, so they handed him a contract to raise 4,000 U.S. troops. Now it's 1865, and General Sherman drops the famous 40 acres in the mill plan. And the blacks like, yo, Tunis, what do we do with all this land? And Tunis, he don't hesitate. He like, yo, cut down all them trees. And people were like, huh? But Tunis, he was always 3 steps ahead. He knew the white folks would try to steal the land back, so he told his people to sell the timber from the trees, stack the cash, and buy the land back when the government came to take it. Straight up gangster. But Tunis didn't stop there. He brought 1,200 acres in McIntosh County, Georgia, and built his own town, complete with schools, courthouses, judges, and a 400-man militia. And the KKK tried to torch his house once, but after that, they wouldn't even step foot in his county. They knew better. And it gets even crazier. The Klan starts to terrorize black voters all over Georgia. They even poisoned the black register. And Tunis was like, oh, word? Watch this. He personally registered voters with an armed guard, and nobody was going to mess with him or his people. Now let's fast forward to 1868, and the 14th Amendment passes. And Tunis and his son both got elected. Tunis became the senator of the state, and his son became a state rep. And they were a part of the original 33, the first black legislators in Georgia. But the white folks, they pulled the oldest trick in the book. They said, yeah, you could vote, but you ain't supposed to be holding office. So they kicked out the original 33. And Tunis was like, nah, y'all tripping. He fought back, got reinstated, and then went straight to D.C. to talk to Charles Sumner. And he's like, yo, we need a 15th Amendment. And it said that some of the language in the 15th Amendment came from Tunis itself. And that's a level of power they don't even teach you in school. And it's the 1800s. But here's where it get crazier. Tunis starts to use the 15th Amendment in the Civil Rights Act of 1870 to go after ex-slave owners and Klans members who violated black folks' rights. And you know them white folks lost their mind. So they flipped the script. They accused him of violating white people's rights. Basically the first reverse racism case in history. And they didn't just accuse him, they called it a judicial lynching. And bam, you know how they do. They locked up Tunis and they sentenced him to hard labor on the Georgia chain gang. A free black man turned into a slave by the system. And it wasn't even subtle. They called it hard labor, but it was straight up slavery with paperwork. When he finally got out, Tunis said, I'm done with Georgia. And he left for good. But his legacy? It stayed behind. Belleville and McIntosh County stayed black power centers for decades because of him. And here's the wild part of it all. He lived to 79 years old. In 1891, that was like living to 100. Homie outlived the Civil War, Reconstruction, and the rise of Jim Crow. And through it all, he kept fighting. So next time somebody tell you black people didn't fight back after slavery, tell them about Tunis Campbell. The preacher with a 400-person army who built his own town, ran his own schools and courthouses, and put fear in the heart of the KKK.